48 hours ago, 6 Russian cargo planes landed in Tehran. Not commercial flights, not aid shipments. Antonov On 124S, the heaviest military transport aircraft Russia operates. Each one carrying components so classified that Russia had never allowed them to leave Russian soil. Not for sale, not for allies, not for anyone. Until now. What was inside those planes is about to change every calculation America has made about this war. And when NATO found out, they didn't issue a statement. They didn't schedule a press conference. They called an emergency meeting, the kind they only call when something has gone seriously, irreversibly wrong. So before you scroll past this, stay with me. Because what happened in the last 48 hours didn't just change the war with Iran. It may have changed the entire balance of military power in the Middle East. And most people have no idea it even happened. Before we go any further, drop a comment right now and tell us where in the world you're watching this from. Seriously. We want to know. Our viewers are spread across dozens of countries, and every single location matters to us. Let us know in the comments where are you watching from today. Now let's get into what Russia actually put on those planes. The system is called the S-500 Prometheus. And if you've heard of the S-400, the system Russia sold to Turkey, India, and China. Forget everything you think you know. The S-500 is not an upgrade. It is an entirely different category of weapon. The S-400 can engage targets at around 400 kilometers. It was built to counter fourth-generation fighters and cruise missiles. Effective, yes. Dangerous, absolutely. But it has limits, and American military planners knew exactly what those limits were. The S-500 operates at 600 kilometers. It uses a completely new radar architecture, multiple frequency bands running simultaneously specifically engineered to detect aircraft that are designed to be invisible. We're talking about the F-35. We're talking about the F-22. We're talking about the B-2 bomber. Russia spent decades studying American stealth aircraft. They analyzed radar signatures, flight profiles, approach angles, and then they built a system specifically designed to kill what America flies. Development started in 2010. Russia deployed it to their own forces in 2021. Total systems produced fewer than 20. Export? Strictly prohibited. Moscow treated this technology the way you'd treat a nuclear secret. And then, 48 hours ago, they put it on cargo planes and flew it to Tehran. Let that settle for a second. Because the implications of that decision go far deeper than one weapon system changing hands. For the past 4 weeks, the American air campaign over Iran has operated with something extraordinary, near total freedom of movement. F-35S flying at altitude. B. 2 sorties penetrating deep into Iranian airspace. Precision strikes executed with minimal risk to pilots. Iran's air defenses, aging Soviet-era systems, limited domestic designs simply could not track or engage 5th-generation stealth aircraft operating at high altitude. The result was 4 weeks of intensive combat operations with 0 American aircraft losses. 0. That number created a certain confidence in Washington. A belief that the air campaign could continue indefinitely, that Iran had no answer, that time and precision were on America's side. That confidence is now facing its most serious challenge since the war began. The S-500's primary interceptor missile, the 77 In-6, travels at Mach 9. No aircraft in the American arsenal can maneuver fast enough to evade it once it's in the air. Engagement altitude exceeds 200 kilometers well into the edge of space. It can hit ballistic warheads. It can hit satellites. And according to NATO assessments, it can engage F-35S at ranges exceeding 200 kilometers. Think about what that means geographically. A single S-500 battery positioned in central Iran can reach aircraft flying over the Persian Gulf. It can engage planes over Iraq. The airspace that American pilots have treated as a safe corridor, the approach routes, the ingress paths, the standoff launch positions, all of it now potentially sits inside the engagement envelope of a system specifically designed to kill the aircraft using those routes. And here's where it gets more serious. Russia didn't just ship the hardware. Intelligence assessments indicate the transfer included Russian technical advisor specialists required to operate and integrate the S-500 because the system is too complex for Iranian crews to run alone. Russian personnel are likely now sitting at S-500 sites inside Iran, which means the next time an American aircraft flies a strike mission and faces an S-500 engagement, there may be Russian operators on the other side of that radar screen. A successful American strike on an S-500 battery could kill Russian nationals. A successful S-500 intercept of an American aircraft involves direct Russian participation. The firewall that has kept this conflict from becoming a US-Russia confrontation just got dangerously thin. Now let's talk about why Russia did this. Because this wasn't impulsive. Moscow doesn't move 20 of their most classified weapons systems without a precise calculation behind it. Since 2022, the Russia-Iran relationship has deepened in ways that most Western coverage has significantly underplayed. Iran supplied Russia with Shahed drones, thousands of them used extensively in the Ukraine campaign. Russia provided diplomatic cover at the UN, arms supply coordination, and intelligence sharing. The relationship was real, functional, and growing. But this transfer is different. This is Russia crossing a line they had explicitly said they would never cross. They had refused S-500 exports to China. They had refused them to India. They had held this technology as an absolute reserve. The decision to transfer it now, during active American military operations against Iran, is a strategic message. Moscow is telling Washington directly, "You are not the only great power in this conflict anymore. Every strike you launch, every aircraft you send, now risks Russian-engineered systems engaging American pilots. You are no longer fighting Iran. You are fighting Iran equipped with Russian technology designed to defeat you." The timing has a second dimension. While American military and political attention is consumed by Iran, what is happening in Ukraine? What is happening in the Baltic? What is happening in the Arctic? Russia may be calculating that American overextension creates opportunity. The S-500 transfer doesn't just help Iran, it stretches American strategic focus across multiple theaters simultaneously. That is not an accident. Now NATO's emergency meeting. These meetings are not routine. They are not called for escalations that can be managed through existing protocols. The last emergency session of this gravity was called after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Before that, after September 11th. When NATO convenes at that level, it means the alliance has encountered something that fundamentally alters the security environment. What specifically triggered the meeting wasn't just the 500 inches Iranian hands. It was the precedent. If Russia is willing to transfer their most advanced air defense system to a country actively at war with the United States, what else are they willing to transfer? Electronic warfare systems that can jam American carrier communications? Anti-ship missiles that can threaten the fleet in the Arabian Sea? Real-time intelligence sharing that reveals American strike packages before they launch? The S-500 may not be the ceiling of Russian involvement. It may be the opening move. For American military planners, the options are all difficult. They can shift to standoff warfare cruise missiles, long-range drones, munitions launched from outside the S-500 engagement envelope. But standoff weapons are expensive, limited in inventory, and far less flexible than manned aircraft. High-value hardened targets become much harder to reach. They can attempt to suppress the S-500 batteries through concentrated strikes, but those batteries are defended, potentially mobile, and may have Russian personnel present, which transforms a tactical strike into a diplomatic catastrophe. They can lean on electronic warfare to jam the S-500's radar arrays, but the system uses multiple frequency bands with anti-jamming architecture, specifically designed to defeat American electronic attack. None of the available options restore the air dominance that existed 72 hours ago. And every hour that passes is an hour Iran uses to integrate, position, and activate these systems. There is a human dimension to this that deserves to be said plainly. American pilots who flew their missions last week with near-zero risk are now flying into a fundamentally different threat environment. Their skill, their training, their aircraft, all of it is about to be tested against a system built over decades specifically to defeat them. We don't know yet whether the S-500 will achieve intercepts. We don't know how quickly Iranian crews, even with Russian support, can bring these systems to full operational readiness. But the possibility now exists in ways that it did not 48 hours ago. That is not a small thing. That is a shift in the nature of this war. For Israel, the implications are equally serious. Israeli F-35s have conducted hundreds of strikes on Iranian and Iranian-linked targets over the past decade. That operational record was built on the same technological superiority America relies on. Israeli strike planning, including any contingency for hitting Iranian nuclear facilities, now faces the same recalculations. The window for certain kinds of operations may be narrowing as these systems come online. For China, this is being watched with intense interest. Russia has now demonstrated willingness to supply a country at war with America with technology designed to kill American aircraft. That precedent exists now. It cannot be walked back. Whatever calculations Beijing makes about Taiwan, about the South China Sea, about American military credibility in the Pacific, those calculations now include the knowledge that Russian advanced systems can flow to adversaries in ways that were previously considered impossible. What Russia has done is not simply a weapons transfer. It is a declaration that the era of uncontested American air dominance, the era that shaped every conflict since 1991, is facing a deliberate, engineered challenge. And the challenge didn't come from Iran. It came from Moscow, through the back door, on 6 cargo planes in 36 hours. This story is not finished. The next developments, whether American aircraft face S-500 engagements, whether Russia expands its involvement, whether NATO's response goes beyond emergency meetings, will define the trajectory of this war and potentially the broader balance of power in ways that extend far beyond the Middle East. And when those developments happen, you'll want analysis that explains not just what occurred, but why it matters and what comes next. If this gave you a clearer picture of what's really happening, share this video with one person who needs to see it. Most people are only getting the surface-level headlines. What we do here is go deeper, and that only reaches more people when you share it. Drop a comment below, and tell us, do you think the S-500 will achieve intercepts against American aircraft? And should the United States strike the batteries, even knowing Russian personnel may be present? We read every comment. This is where the real conversation happens. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell because when the first reports of S-500 engagements emerge, you're going to want to be here for the analysis. Stay informed. Stay aware. We'll see you in the next one.